Hello everyone, it's Leo and it's time to talk about episode 9 from Tropical-Rouge Precure. This was supposed to be a Sungo / Curacoro episode, and I think it really delivered on that. We could really see her growth as a character already and, some points of her character that are very interesting. But I have to say this every time it happens because I think it needs to be praised. Every time there is a regular episode of any Precure season and they're able to integrate all of its characters very nicely, we need to praise that. And Tropical-Rouge is being very good at that so far. I'm really liking it. In this episode, we could see each of the girls shining on their own. We could see a little bit of their personalities. We could see a little bit more of who they are. And I love this. So basically, when the episode starts, we see the past girls. It's nice. I love those secondary characters and I love those little friends from school. We barely see them, but it's nice that we saw them a little bit in this one. And we know there's going to be a movie shooting in Arizona school. And so the girls are going to be extras. They want the students to be extras. So right at that moment, Laura is like super excited. Sungo is also excited, but Minori and Asuka girl, they don't want that. They don't want anything to do with that. And it was very funny how it was set up. Like, the girls were celebrating and both of them were just looking. And then it cut to the opening. And then when it came back, the girls were like, no, we're not doing this. We don't want to do this. And as I said, like, this is one of the indications. This is one of the things I like. We could see, like, each of them having their own reason for not liking it. And as we already know those characters, we know those reasons make sense. Like Asuka saying she doesn't want to act in front of people. She gets very ashamed of that, and Minori doesn't want to appear. Like, she doesn't want to be seen. Minori, I love you so much. And the face she makes. Girl. And look, I also have to praise the people who worked on this episode in the animation department, because Asuka looked so amazing in every scene she was part of. And I'm talking about an episode that did have rough art. But let me just say this again. I think that even if the art was a little rough on this episode, it kind of looked cute, and there was something special about this art that I can't really put my finger on. I know that the animator who did this episode is infamous in the fandom, but I think it looked kind of cute this time around. And then we have Sungo saying that she would like to be on the background. She would like to be part of this movie. And Laura's like, this is so boring. I want to be the main character. I am going to prove to them and show them how a mermaid acts. How I am a great actor. Like, come on. Laura was, for the first time, we didn't see Laura in the spotlight in an episode, but every time she appeared, she delivered. She really delivered. I really missed Laura in this episode. I mean, Laura is the queen. We know that. But I missed her in this episode. But every time she appeared, every scene she was in, she delivered. And it was so funny. Like, Minori and Asuka looking at the pot and saying, girl, no. Shut up, you can't do this. Oh my god, that scene was everything. Then they met the actor, who is basically one of the most important things of this episode. They go to learn that she is very good at one thing, but she is now trying another type of character, and she's not being good at it. She's trying very hard, but she can't do what the character needs her to do. So the girls set up to help her. One important thing about this is a line from Minori, and she said, like, nowadays we use actor for both men and women. I don't know the actual phrase in Japanese, like what she was saying in Japanese, but it's very nice the show is acknowledging those types of topics in a very simple line, and very interesting. I really liked that moment. And at that moment we had another funny scene with Asuka. The actor was like, I can't do this. I have this kind personality. I'm very quiet. This character is more like Asuka. And Asuka's like, oh, I understand. What? Girl, that moment. It was everything. Come on. And then another character gets introduced in this episode, which is Miyuki, Sango's mom. She is also very important in this episode. I really liked the messages she brought. And girl, she is pretty. She is pretty. And I also think that the backgrounds in the Pretty Holic store, are very beautiful as well. Girl, those backgrounds rocked this episode. Also the soundtrack. And also, let me say this before I forget, Firo's doing Manatsu's voice in this episode. I think that she is a stellar voice actor, but I think that she really peaked her abilities in this one, at least in Tropical-Rouge speaking. Like, Manatsu was superb in this episode. Like, she was superb in doing Manatsu's voice in this episode. The best voice acting she did for Tropical-Rouge by far, episode 9. Really loved it. And Manatsu had a preeminent role in this episode. Like, she was basically the one who was carrying the action. And then we had the scene of the girls helping Yuna, which was also very cute. Each of the girls helping her in their own way, in their own knowledges, and also, again, very nice. And it was very funny seeing Sungo tell her that she needed the evil villain laugh. I mean, if you are a good villain, you have a specific laugh for yourself. If you don't, I'm sorry, you're not a good villain at all. Joking, but you know, laughing like this, it really adds a lot of character to villains, and I love it. And then we go to the scene of Sango portraying a different character to help the store, and she goes on to put the kigurumi costume, and she goes outside and she really tries something that is out of her comfort zone, and she's not really afraid to do that anymore. She is a very different person than the Sango we met at the start of the season. This is something nice, and like, as I said, we already know those characters. We already know who they are. So seeing them grow and seeing them change is something easy for us as the viewers. And it's also perceptible to her mom. Her mom also notices that lately she has been trying to do things, and she tells that to Yuna. And so, like, at that scene, it was a very nice scene because we can see, like, the girls interacting with what Miyuki was saying. And so we have Manatsu going and saying, no, she is like that because she is now being able to tropicalize. I love Manatsu so much. And then, you know, we see Asuka saying that Manatsu always does everything head on. She does everything she can. She is not afraid of anything. She is jumping right into action. And then they just follow along. They just play with her, and they just open themselves to what they're also wanting to do because they see Manatsu doing it like recklessly. And so that was like, I really liked that scene as well. I mean, recognizing that Manatsu is basically the catalyst. I mean, it usually is like this with Precure leads. Not always, but usually. And then that scene that Sango faints. Why do I do this? Sango faints, and then the girls all start talking to her. Another very nice moment with Asuka saying, like, Manatsu is the one who is reckless all the time. And Manatsu's like, yeah, it's me. Girl, I love this group so much. And an interesting thing that I noticed in this episode is that they are really seeing each other as friends, and they are starting to rely more on each other. We see that in the fight, and they start to rely more on each other. What happens is that they didn't start this as friends. They didn't even know each other, and now they are strengthening their bonds by spending time together, by, you know, doing their own thing. And so the Tropical Club is very important for that. Manatsu is very important for that. And we start seeing that in this episode, I think. Like, they're really friends now. They can really rely on each other. And so at this moment, we have a Cinderella thing. And, like, we see a little bit of the story of Cinderella being reinterpreted in a very nice way. The first thing that's very interesting is that Cinderella is, in a way, a love story. We have a relationship between a poor girl with the prince. So, like, she wanting to find the prince and meeting the prince and changing her life because of that. That is an important part of the Cinderella story. But for the argument of the episode, that did not matter at all. Like, what really mattered in the Cinderella story and what mattered to Sango at the moment she reread the Cinderella story was the fact that Cinderella got a very important present from the fairy godmother, which is the courage. This is basically for Sango what it was or is the most important thing about the Cinderella story. Everything else she got, the glass shoes, the carriage, and the costume, it doesn't matter. Like, what really mattered was the courage she got. And I feel like they made a parallel to makeup, because we see Miyuki being a makeup artist, and she's going to be the makeup artist from Yuna in the movie. And this is basically what the show tried to say. Makeup is important. It changes your face. It can change your expression. But the most important thing is that it gives you courage to do what you have to do. So if you need makeup to make you courageous, to make you brave enough to act like someone else in a movie, that was the case, then good, let's do this. And I like this message. I like this message a lot. So Yuna started, breaking out of her shell and becoming more professional and becoming more of someone, like, she did everything she could to play this character. And so when she went on to record the scene, Numeri appeared, attacked, and the fight started. The fight in this episode was a little bit more interesting than in the past few episodes. It was nice. And okay, so here are some things that I found interesting. So we have Sango, Cure Coral, using her defensive powers. Like, she tried to use the defensive powers in like different angles to protect the girls, and she was able to do it. But the girls couldn't attack because of the lights that the monster created. And, one thing that I didn't like it in episode 7, but I feel why they did this is that, like, Cure Papaya is the technician of the group, basically. She is the one who is able to look at the situation, analyze the situation, and try something else. She was the one who thought of reflection, seeing the water reflecting the light from the monster, and she's like, I know what we have to do. But for that, we need to trust Sango. We need to trust Cure Coral. And then that's what they do. Like, they leave the scene and leave Cure Coral by herself to fight against the monster. And as I said, this is when I feel like the series is talking about friendship, is talking about the girls believing in each other and trusting each other. And that's what Sango said. That's what Cure Coral said when she was defending, and Numeri said, oh, the girls have escaped. And she's like, they haven't escaped, girl. They are coming back. I believe in them. And that's what happened. The unfortunate thing is that Cure Coral was beat at the end of the fight. Girl, that was your fight. But it was good. She protected a lot. She is already better than most Precure shielders. Okay? Because if we had other shielder cures in this scene, it would have broken in the first hit. We know that. So the girls arrive, and then we see Cure Coral using Moko Moko Coral Diffusion again, which is so cute, so adorable. I love this attack so much. Cure Coral, I love you. And so they defeat the monster, and then after that we see Yuna in a completely different visual, rocking the villain of the movie. And then we see the girls in the background in a very awkward position. I love that. And, Yuna rocked it. Everybody was surprised with her looks and also her acting skills. She was praised by the character she made, and everybody was happy. And we see, at the end of the episode, we see, like, Sango looking at her mom and say, makeup is amazing. Which I think, as I said, ties to what we were discussing before. This fact that makeup is something that kind of tricks you into believing more in yourself, into having more courage to do whatever you need to do. So I like this argument. I like how Tropical-Rouge is going for in this sense. So, what more do we have to say? Laura playing with makeup. I would like to say, girl, this doesn't look good, but I can't say this because it's Laura. So everything that Laura does is perfect. So Laura with makeup, perfect, 100%. Laura, you're a queen. I love your makeup skills. You are the best. Okay? You cannot criticize Laura. That's a rule, and that's a fact. Oh, we also have something interesting at the end of the episode with the villains. Look, I love the villains from Tropical-Rouge so much. I love the 3 of them. And then one other thing, like in the past few, in episode 6, I think it was in episode 6, we see Numeri being very kind to Elda. Elda's a child, so Numeri was very kind to her, she sat on her lap and everything. And now we see Shongire being kind to her, giving her something delicious to eat, like they were talking, they weren't even paying attention to Butler, like they were paying more attention to Elda. They were trying to, like, at least he was trying to, you know, make her feel more at ease there, and she was very happy eating something delicious. Girl, I see you, I understand you. But obviously what matters is that Butler gave them a new power up. Not really a power-up for them, but a power-up for the Yaranedas, and in the next episode we're gonna see the Zen Zen Yaraneda, a stronger Yaraneda now that is going to need the girls to step up, be stronger, and win with a new power-up. We know that this is gonna happen. And an interesting thing about next episode. In this episode we see that basically Manatsu works as a catalyst for the group, and she's basically what is tying them together. But in the next episode she's going to lose motivation, so we are going to need the other 3 girls, 4 girls if we consider Laura too, to work together to help Manatsu. And I'm very glad they're doing this very early on in the season, and it's going to be very nice, you know, seeing the other girls take a step up and take the front stage to help Manatsu. I'm very curious to see how this is gonna go. And girl, a power up very early on. I love when Precure does this, and Precure has been doing this for the past seasons. Work. Bring it on. Keep it on. I'm loving it. Anyways, that was my view on episode 9 from Tropical-Rouge. What did you think about this episode? I really loved it. Anyways, leave a comment in the comment box. Let's keep talking in the comment box below. I want to take this time to thank the members of the Magical Cinnamon channel. If you are a member, I really appreciate that you support and believe in Magical Cinnamon. Thank you very much. And if you've watched up until now, thank you so much as well. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, bye bye.